Hey, how's it going, guys? So I just kind of wanted to go over some things here, uh, just because every once in a while this happens, and I understand, but um, I'll just kind of just get right into it here. So, comparison to modern day relationships and society, like it's 2017, everyone's supposed to be equal, and their people learn certain ways, what's right, what's wrong, from their parents, from their friends, from school, from work, whatever it is, however they're brought up, that's what they learn is right, and that's what's comfortable for them. Now, in a BDSM relationship and the community, it's a whole different world, right? So if you're learning about the world, you're taking a step into it, right? You can't just like view it from the outside and expect to know what it's like. In one of my favorite ways that I've ever seen of it being explained is like Alice's Through the Looking Glass. So basically, if you don't know what it is, there's a looking glass and there's two parts to it. So one is the normal world where everything's normal. A chair is a chair, a clock's a clock. The postman is a giant, or it's a human being, right? And from the outside it looks normal, okay? And then on the other side, it's Wonderland. So everything's different. The like tables and chairs dance, the clock talks, and the postman's a giant lizard, and like it's all different, okay? But from the outside it doesn't look very different. It looks the same, actually. Through Alice's Through the Looking Glass, it looks the exact same in that movie, comparison to the normal one. So you look at it, you're like, shit, they're the same, okay? But when you actually go into it, shit's completely different. And it's the same thing with the BDSM world. You can kind of like, you can do a lot of research where you understand that it's different, but until you actually do it, there's no way to know for sure about anything until it's actually done, right? You can guess about what you like and what you don't like, but until you do it, you don't know for sure. For example, like, I'm a dom, okay, but I actually wasn't always a dom. I started out as a switch. A switch is somebody who is submissive and or dominant, and it switches, right? Very common. Meaning it means the same thing, it just says switches. And I was fine with being submissive and it was okay, but I prefer being a dom, so I've put all my focus towards being a dom. I enjoy having responsibility of someone else and helping them grow and teach in my ways, and having someone respect me on that level. It makes me feel empowered and it makes me happy. And the best way I can explain it to tell if someone's going to be a good dom or not is comparison to money. Like, if you give someone a ton of money, a lot of people change. And I actually was lucky enough to get feedback from friends and family who are completely honest with that kind of thing. I grew up poor, and then I started working at, I guess, the same job that I am now, except just a different version of it. Same company though. So, but my income skyrocketed from like just bad to over six figures in the course of like the amount I was making in a month, 2 months, and it quickly happened. But something that didn't happen was I didn't change my personality. Who I was is who I was, and it didn't change based on how much money I made. I am still me. I treat everyone the same as I did before. I don't become egotistical because of it, which is very comparison to doms. When they are given power over somebody else, it can make people feel egotistical and treat people wrong. And it makes sense, but you know, you can't be a dom if you're like that. It doesn't work, because you're just treating other people like shit, how they don't deserve to be treated. So that also leads me into what this video is basically about. It's about how to treat a dom. Now, this is more for people who don't know what the hell they're fucking doing. So I've made like fucking, I don't know how many, 10 videos or something like that. I've barely scratched the fucking surface of what a BDSM world is. I basically make a video when a topic comes to mind and I have some free time, right? Like, I'm busy today, but I was meeting with 2 people who were curious about the BDSM community, and like, I love teaching. It's who I am, and you know, I'm completely open to just teaching somebody. Comparison, and like, for those who don't know, I should mention this, because just like Through the Looking Glass, even if I were to dom somebody or 2 people, I've dommed 4 people at once. Like, it doesn't matter in comparison to like a BDSM world to modern day society, what's acceptable and what's not, right? So you can be dommed or dom somebody and it be 100% non-sexual. Like, if someone doms somebody inside the bedroom and that's it, they are not a dom, okay? Like, I can dom somebody and help guide them in everyday life, and I do that with if someone needs it and they want it. I have tons of people, friends, family, even before I classified myself as dom, people would come to me and open up, and they would want my opinion and my guidance. It's just, that's who I am as a personality. People have that view of me in person, that I'm very relaxing to talk to, and it's true. And I understand that. It's because I take an objective view on basically everything. But when it gets to the point of like the BDSM world comparison to a regular modern day society, what's acceptable, if you're looking into it and you're talking to a dom because you're curious about the BDSM world, you do not treat them as a friend. You treat them as a dom. Whether you're a dom or a sub or a switch or any kind of difference, you're not treating them what's socially acceptable in modern day society, okay? And if you're brand new, your job, you gotta fucking ask what's acceptable and what's not, because if you treat them in a way that they find disrespectful, they're not gonna want to teach you. They're the way they are because they enjoy being that way. They're not going to let someone come in who's random and just be like, well, regular people do this, or, you know, I was brought up that it's this way, so what you're doing is wrong. I'm going to question and challenge what you're saying. And, you know, I'll argue with you about it. They're, especially doms, they're dominant. They'll fucking butt heads with you until shit explodes. Or one person leaves. It's how it is. They're dominant. Yeah. Anyways, I kind of want to go into something. So I was talking with these 2 people and they were interested, and, you know, I don't have any expectations on what would happen. I just treated them as if I was treating them like anybody else. And like anyone who was interested in learning. Now, I always like to take steps forward. Like right now, I'm looking for someone like my own sub or subs to be able to teach and guide, and eventually I'd like it to turn into a relationship. So I treat everybody that I'm teaching with the intent that we're making baby steps to grow closer together, and that involves like trust. Like a lot of people, I think I mentioned this in another video, I might be wrong, but a lot of people have a misconception about how trust works. A lot of people think that you just have to like randomly gain trust out of nowhere and then you can do things. It starts off small. Like, for example, if someone asks to borrow your pen, okay, you just met them, someone or you just talked to them. If someone asks to borrow your pen, you got to take the leap of faith, okay? At some point you're taking a leap of faith to trust them. It could be with, you know, borrowing money, it could be with holding their phone or borrowing a pen. I just like using the pen as an example. So if I'm to trust somebody and they were like, I need a pen, and I give them my pen, I'm like, yeah, can you give it back to me after? And they can either do it or not do it, but I have to take that leap of faith that they will give it back. So assuming that they do give it back, that's a level of trust that we've just built. It's literally that simple. You just take baby steps up. So it can be start out as a pen, and it can eventually go to like you're taking control of someone's whole financial institute, whether they're rich or poor. Or it can be like you trust somebody to let them drive your vehicle, right? You don't trust somebody on that level until you do, right? Like if you trust somebody with all your finances, you're probably going to trust them with driving your vehicle. But you have to reach a certain point at that. So you take little baby steps to build that trust. And it's kind of the same thing with relationships. You take like little baby steps forward. You can't put a halt on it and treat each other like friends and expect that it's just going to grow magically out of nowhere. It's either going to take a big leap sometime or a bunch of little leaps. Little leaps are better in my view because it allows it to grow more naturally, like friends and then best friends, and then just growing closer slowly rather than just like getting to know each other as a friend, as like a friendship thing, and then kind of exploding into a relationship. If you let it build over time, it's more natural and more it's not as intense and crazy, so to speak. So anyways, I was talking about respect, and I want to go over something that is not acceptable in 2017 in modern day society, and it wouldn't be heard until you hear it. And if you're new or curious about this, and if you ever talk to a dom, this is what you should be doing. If you know this, you should do it right away. A dom will insist that you call them sir out of respect. If you were to equivalent it to something, it's just like a doctor, okay? Yeah, it's just like a doctor. Like, for example, if you've gone through 10 years of schooling and you are a doctor, businesses treat you as doctors. They call you doctor. It's just like, you know, you go to school and your teacher, you call them by Mrs. last name, Mr. last name. It's just, that's how it is. It's just in the last, 100 years, 75 years, people don't do that anymore. But in the BDSM world, it is done. So if you're new and you're talking to a dom, you're not treating them like modern day society. Like when you first meet, you kind of like see if you like each other, right? It can be equal terms, but like very quickly it's gonna turn into, well, you know, if you want to learn more, you have to treat me the way that I deserve. I put in the time, I put in the effort to know that I deserve to be treated as a dom, right? Now, this is where problems come in. People who don't know or who think that they're doms but they're not, or are pretending to be a dom, they'll demand the same thing, being called sir. But you can't just like not do it for that reason. It just doesn't work. Or if you want to reach a certain point, in your relationship before you do it. Like, the one who's dominant is supposed to be the one who controls how fast things move to a certain degree, right? Like, if like, you do have to willingly give your submission to do anything that's like submissive, but to be respectful on a level that is expected, it should be done. Okay, so I hear it all often, and I've dealt with it a couple times, where someone doesn't want to go any distance or take any steps into the BDSM world without like knowing everything about it. I've been doing this for like over 4 or 5 years, somewhere around there, and I still don't know everything. I'm nowhere near to fucking knowing everything. I'm still learning. I have a really good basic knowledge. Like, if there's a scale and it goes up to like here, or if it goes right up to the top, I would be like, probably there, and I still have like everything to learn. But comparison to people who have no clue, like, there's fucking nothing, right? There's books that are 1,000 pages long, one in a series explaining the facts about BDSM, and like, it's not just a fan fiction like 50 Shades of shit. It's like facts. Like, here's some things that happen, some things that happen, some things that happen. Like, there's kind of like a circle where the majority of people fit in, but I've never heard it where a dom doesn't expect to be treated as such, as that level of authority as a dom. So like, if you're new and you're a sub, or potentially being a sub, or you're talking to a dom, and it's being explained on that level, you're supposed to call them sir. It's just, or if they're a femdom, like a female dom, it's ma'am, or whatever they want to be called by, but usually it's ma'am as well, or miss, or whatever it is. Just, it's not like, you're not calling them mommy or something like that. Not something personal. It's just sir or ma'am. And that's because, just like a doctor, they've earned it. And there's 2 points of view. One is, they like that person, and so they just do it because they want to pursue with that person. And then there's a second person. These are new people, by the way. New people to the BDSM world, because a sub would never not call a dom sir if they're not their dom. Like, let me put it this way: if you're a sub and you're with a dom, you're expected to call other doms sir. It's just out of respect of who they are. That's them. Okay. Yeah. So for the other scenario for new people is they don't want to call it until a certain point. It doesn't work like that. It's almost like an unspoken rule. Like, if someone's right behind you, you hold the door open for them. In the BDSM world, if if you're watching this, you now know that you're supposed to call doms by sir. So if you're talking to a dom, you should be saying sir. Even if you're not in a relationship with them, if you're talking to them and you're asking them questions in their dom, so if you're not just like, hanging out and being friends, but if you're talking to them as a dom, they're to be treated as such, and it's not your decision to pick when and where it's supposed to be done. You're supposed to do it, okay? And you can argue against it, but every single dom I've ever heard of insists of the same thing, and it's just a level of respect. It's nothing supposed to be kinky. It's more like, 100 years ago or 75 years ago, where people had that base level of respect in the BDSM world. It's expected that is done, right? So now that you're watching this, if you talk to a dom, you know that you should be calling them sir. You don't have to wait until they ask you to call them sir, like you're supposed to do it right away. That's who they are. It's just like I was saying, like if you're a sub and you have your dom, when you talk or get talked to by another dom, even if it's to say, sorry, I can't talk to you, you have to talk to my dom, you say, sorry sir, I can't talk to you, right? You're there to be respectful for that person. And like if you're looking to be dominant, it's different. But if you're looking to learn as a sub, then that's kind of how it is. And you know, as I was saying, you can argue against it, but go fucking Google it. You're not just looking at my point of view. Like this one protocol is extremely common. You go into the BDSM community with that wrong attitude, and you're just gonna get chucked out by every single dom that's out there. And if they let you push them over, they're not dominant, right? So yeah, like if you're any kind of submissive or looking at exploring submissiveness, any dom that you talk to should be referred to as sir until it's actually meaningful. Then that'll change to actually something personal, like daddy or master or alpha or whatever it is. So sir, it can be any level of dom, but you have to do that initial one. The best thing to do is to do it, and then if they don't deserve it because they're fake or you guys split apart, then you stop, right? You don't do it the other way around where you don't do it and then wait a certain time and then you decide when it's okay to do it. It's expected, it's general knowledge within the BDSM community to do it. So if you're watching this, if you talk to a dom, you call them sir, you treat them as a dom if you're talking to them as a dom. If that doesn't mean that, you know, you're growing to be in a relationship or growing to be their sub, but if, like, I can dom somebody just because they want to learn, and it could be because I find them attractive and I want to explore. Like right now I'm looking for my subs, so I'm keeping my options open. Or it could be for money. Like I've heard of doms teaching subs and they pay them to do it. It's literally like a class, right? Another thing too is, like, if that dom's spending time to teach you the knowledge that he or she has acquired to sit down and talk with you and answer questions like a fucking teacher, right? Like, your job is to fucking sit there and listen, like, put in the fucking effort. If they don't think that you're taking it seriously, they're just gonna get pissed off and either one, bring it up and explain that you'd like them to kind of treat it better when given lessons, or they're just gonna be like, sorry, you haven't respected me. And even if you're joking with them, or like, for example, I met with these two and like I explained it was fun, right? In person is fun. Over text I'm a little bit more serious. It's just how it is. But it was fun. We had a good time. And they asked me a bunch of questions, and it ended great. And then I was texting and I was like, all right, so I've decided that I kind of want to move into a negotiation stage, whether it's, you know, just I'm teaching them and nothing sexual, they do it together, separate, whatever negotiations. It's negotiations, right? So I wanted to move into negotiations, and, you know, if you don't know what that is, watch my other video. It can be something serious or not serious. It's nothing at all until negotiations is done. But unlike a regular modern day society, it's a way of clearing things up about what's going on. It's just to make things clear, right? For both people. So if you don't want anything serious, you mention that in negotiations. If you want to have nothing but lessons, but nothing sexual, you negotiate that in negotiations. If you literally I want to talk over text, you do that in negotiations. I don't know anyone who would accept that, but you can do it in negotiations. That's what negotiations is for. If you're doing a full-on negotiations where it's working right towards a relationship, full-blown conscious, like your everything, then that's going to be in there too. So negotiations is there so both people are clear about what's going on. There's no misconceptions. So I asked these two, I was like, I told them, I was like, I want to go into negotiations, and because I'd like to get to know you guys better, and I'd like to teach you because you said you wanted to be taught, and I'd also like you to call me sir. And then the one that was really joking all the time, or like they didn't really answer seriously, and you know, it's understandable, they're new, so like, yeah, I don't know, maybe it's just I'm serious, but I don't know a dom who would, if they ask a question, it to not be respected, right? Remember how the time difference, almost like 100 years ago, it's more of a classic style of relationship, except, you know, it's in 2017. So that respect is supposed to be there. Joking around and stuff like that, yeah, but when you're kind of talking about the BDSM stuff, that's to be taken seriously, or else the person that you're learning from is going to think that you're just a joke and you're not serious about it. You can't, like, and you know, you can do what you want, right? But a dom's not going to fucking waste their time with somebody who treats their time like it's a joke, and you know, just how it is. So negotiations is very common after the first meeting with a dom, and that's just to communicate what that dom's okay with. So it's all clear, like what that dom is okay with doing, you'll know. Like if a dom's okay with fucking having sex and teaching you in all ways, and having rituals and owning your body and everything like that, it'll be laid out in there that that's what he's okay with doing with you. And then your job as a sub is to say what's acceptable, right? It's very simple, very simple. The sub draws the outline of the picture, and then my job as a dom is to color within the lines. It's very simple. But until that line's drawn, that outline, the dom can't treat you properly, because, he can't dom you properly because he doesn't know what's acceptable and what's not. He's not a mind reader, right? So negotiations is just there to have it where it's just clear that this is what's going on. And yeah, so negotiations doesn't have to be a big deal, but it's a necessary part. And if you butt heads with the dom and you try and argue with them about what you think is right, if they know what's right for them and what's right just in general, they're not going to budge. It's right. If you want to have your own little thing that you want to do, go make up your own type. I don't know, right? There's no rules, right? You can make your own type of BDSM relationship. It's just there's a majority. Like, if you want to be treated, if you want to be a dom, you want to be treated as such, especially once you know what you're doing, right? You've spent years learning, right? If you're teaching somebody or entering a relationship, even before it's serious, like, there's that level of respect there. So yeah, anyways, if you have any more questions, comment below. And for you two that are probably gonna watch this, sorry. Have a good one. Peace.